Hello everybody, welcome back to this channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Luis Diaz potentially joining FC Barcelona. It does state here, according to a couple of sources, that Luis Diaz is Barcelona's #1 target for the left wing position, and Hansi Flick has already given his approval. He would cost around 85 million euros. It has also been reported coming from Tony Juan Martí that Luis Diaz is still Barcelona's top target and wants to join, but his transfer remains difficult. He expects a serious offer and guaranteed registration. Neither is possible right now, but that is because we are only in May. Barcelona still have some deals to lock down in the coming weeks. So this is huge news. The fact that Hansi Flick has given his approval for the signing of Luis Diaz, it's something that I never even thought of, right? Because I thought that Hansi Flick wanted someone more of, let's just say, Leao. But it does seem like Deco is really convincing Hansi Flick that Luis Diaz is the player that will reinforce the attack. And I believe that this is also comes out at a very good time, because we're hearing the reports of Luis Diaz maybe joining Barcelona, and at the same time Barcelona are securing the renewal of Rafinha, who is going to be the direct competitor to Luis Diaz, right? They're going to be competing for the left wing position. We're going to be talking about the other alternatives of what Luis Diaz could do at Barcelona. But as for Rafinha, it does state here that Barcelona have reached an agreement with Rafinha over a new deal, and it is all done. The Brazilian will sign until June 2028. One more important renewal for Barcelona with Deco's huge work in recent months. Flick signs the new deal tomorrow as well, and then Rafinha is going to be signing his renewal on Thursday, and this is coming from Fabrizio Romano. So once again, it's huge news, because I do think that if you were to talk about this Hansi Flick system that Barcelona have implemented this season, one of the players that really does show that they can, I would just say, adapt to this Hansi Flick style of play, it is Luis Diaz, because of his direct approach and the way that he does dribble on the left flank, the way that he does take down players. And Luis Diaz can be used under Hansi Flick in two different ways. Point number one, right? I think that he's going to be a direct alternative to Rafinha, because when Barcelona have to face these low blocks to mid blocks, or if Rafinha is ever injured, Luis Diaz is once again a direct competitor to Rafinha. And I think that Barcelona do not lose on anything if Rafinha drops down for whatever reason, or we don't need him for whatever reason because of a certain scenario in a game. Luis Diaz gives us a lot of solutions. If you also look at Luis Diaz and Rafinha on this graph chart, you can see that Luis Diaz does have certain things that Rafinha does not have, and Rafinha has certain things that Luis Diaz does not have. Luis Diaz is better in terms of carries and dribbles compared to Rafinha, and that is because we all know that Rafinha is not a dribbler. He is not a ball carrier. Rafinha is somebody who attacks open spaces and can find those key passes and final third passes. Rafinha is better in terms of assist, maybe slightly better in key passes, but they're very much the same players, just that Luis Diaz has that upper hand in carries and dribbles. Hence the reason why Hansi Flick is looking at this and saying, oh my god, bro, like, yeah, I do green light this move. Like, I want this to happen. Luis Diaz can give us so much, and most importantly, not only is he a alternative to Rafinha, but point number two, here's the thing, and this is something that has not been talked about through the media. Luis Diaz is a alternative to Lewandowski. Yes, you guys heard that right. Luis Diaz is a alternative to Lewandowski, because Luis Diaz has played as a number 9 before, and he has recently been playing as a number 9 with Liverpool in the past 2 to 3 months. So there is a possibility, my friends, that Hansi Flick is planning to use a front three of Rafinha on the left, Luis Diaz as a number 9, and Lamine Yamal on the right wing position. Let's just say, for example, Lewandowski is injured, maybe he's fatigued, and Ferran Torres is not with us, or maybe he's injured, or he's just not being planned to be used on a certain game. There is that possibility that Diaz can come in and play in the number 9 role and play with Rafinha and Yamal. That is insane, because the amount of pressing that you can do, the amount of speed that's going to bring, the amount of goals, and the amount of times you can attack open spaces is going to be immense, because Yamal is young. Rafinha, we know his work ethic. Diaz, his work ethic is also phenomenal. It is insane. And that is where, this is going to lead me towards the next conversation, is talk about Luis Diaz at his time in Liverpool. And I would just say, I'm going to be very specific. I'm going to talk about this season under Arne Slot, because Luis Diaz has really re-innovated his game under this brand new manager, because Klopp did use him differently, which was a full-time left winger. But in this season, the 2024-2025 season, Arne Slot has re-innovated Luis Diaz, and I believe that because of what Luis Diaz has shown this season, Hansi Flick and Deco are like, oh my god, like, this player is versatile. This player can play in two different positions, and we for sure need him at a team like FC Barcelona. So let's look at the big picture. Many Premier League champions, have relied on a prolific center forward. Liverpool became a Premier League winning team this season. They have, and in a very dominant way. Like, I look back at their season and I'm like, bro, like they have dominated from the very beginning. And one of the reasons why Liverpool have became Premier League champions this season is because they have showcased tactical adaptability under Arne Slot. And a significant portion of their goals came from non-strikers like Luis Diaz, Salah, and Gakpo. And the reason why, is because Luis Diaz was shifted to the number 9 role. He is originally, right, a left winger. And that he has been training to be a left winger his whole life. But up until this season, he was shifted to the number 9 position, and he played in that position very well. And once again, it's all thanks to Arne Slot and the way that he moved certain players to different positions and have them become big-time goal scorers. That led towards Liverpool winning the Premier League. It was not easy. Teams like Arsenal and City, they were very competitive, right? Regardless whether you think that Man City, they lost a couple of games. No, Man City is a team that you do not want to underestimate, and especially in big games. So Arne Slot had a lot of tactical adjustments, right? Luis Diaz, primarily a left winger, played as a central striker. And because of the injuries of Diego Jota, because of Federico Chiesa, that is what led towards, Luis Diaz being that number 9. We also talk about Darwin Núñez, his poor form, where he failed to score in 24 of 28 league games. Slot had to re-innovate, and he had to focus on a fluid front line. And with Diaz, putting Diaz in the front lines, it allows you to have more flexibility, more movement, and more pressing. And built on the attack around Salah on the right, it is what allowed Liverpool to be very successful. So if you want to build a successful team, right, Luis Diaz can play a part of that. And once again, that is the reason why Hansi Flick sees Luis Diaz as a competitor to really compete with Rafinha, with Lewandowski, and maybe even Lamine Yamal, because I think that Luis Diaz can easily play on the right flank. So his performance, right, Luis Diaz as a number 9 this season, 17 goals and 5 assists in all competitions. As a number 9 specifically, 5 goals in 13 Premier League appearances. That's really good. He also had a hat-trick against Bayer Leverkusen in a Champions League game back in November 2024. And in his recent form, in the past 5 games where he has played as a striker, right, because that is where he's going to finish off, 4 goals in 5 matches. Really good. All within a 6-yard box. He has scored against Spurs, against Arsenal, and against West Ham with sharp striker instincts. So it's showcasing his growth right now at the age of 28 years old, still growing, right? You're supposed to be considered as like established type of player at the age of 27, 28, 29 years old, but he is growing even more. At 28 years old, he is showing growth in timing, in positioning, and in finishing. And once again, I don't want to take anything away from Arne Slot. The reason why Luis Diaz is flourishing as a number 9 and why he has been doing that recently is because of him. It is because of Arne Slot. And, if you just find the correct coach and coaches who know what they're doing, and you have that coach train Luis Diaz will give you exactly what you do want. So he has improved on timing of his runs. He is sharpening his shooting techniques. He is displaying better movement and decision making in central areas, not on the left, not on the left flank, right, like solely, but also in the central areas, which is really good. And I believe that, with Diaz going into that central role, it did free up players like Jody Gakpo on the left. And when you look at Gakpo and Diaz together, they have contributed in 27% of Liverpool's 130 goals total this season. That's a lot of goals. So Luis Diaz has been very, I would just say, important to Liverpool's success this season. And I believe that he has more confidence than ever before, more momentum than ever before. So Barcelona, if they do achieve this signing, they would be getting him at the right moment. Now, Luis Diaz has a contract with Liverpool until 2027. Recently, he also said that he wanted to stay at Liverpool as long as possible. So he is likely to receive a contract extension, right? Like, they're going to offer him a contract extension, and it's going to be up to him on whether he wants to renew with Liverpool or maybe move to a team like FC Barcelona and start a brand new journey, because he just joined Liverpool, I think about 3 years ago, I would say, or 2 years ago. So we'll see. And I think that in the end, Slot found some answers that he couldn't find in the market, right? He did state that, it is not easy to find better players to improve us. And it's showing that Slot does give confidence, and he does trust in Luis Diaz that he can perform. So there is that relationship being built between Slot and Luis Diaz. That is why Luis Diaz said, I want to stay here for as long as possible. He feels happy and at home at Liverpool, and he's open to discussions on future terms. And so I think that if Barcelona were to like maybe have that, I would just say low in confidence type of approach on Luis Diaz, it would be because they see that relationship between Diaz and Slot, and that, that relationship is growing. So all in all, I would just say this: it's going to be difficult to achieve this operation, because I do see this relationship growing between Diaz and Slot. They understand each other. They have achieved a lot of success. And most importantly, going back to how much he's going to be costing, it's going to be costing 85 million euros. Now, here's the thing. If you look at Barcelona's squad overall, if we go back like 9 months ago, we would be talking about how Barcelona need to reinforce the right back position, the left back position, the CDM position as well, maybe the right wing position, the left wing position. And that is because we did not know that these players were going to perform at the level that we saw them at. But with the rise of Gerard Martin reinforcing the left back position, we no longer have to spend money on that side. On the right back position, we always said, we need to find a reinforcement to Jules Koundé. But with Eric Garcia emerging, we no longer need to spend money on the right back position. So you see how like the money is accumulating towards other positions. When we talk about, let's just say, the CDM position, we talked about how we need to get Zubimendi or Guido Rodriguez or Miguel Merino. Like we were talking about that last summer. But with the rise of Casado, Bernal, with Frankie reaching top form, we no longer have to talk about spending money in that position. So all that money is now being moved towards the attack if you really look at the whole thing. And I think that with that amount of money being accumulated, not being spread too thin on like 5 different positions, that does add up towards maybe Barcelona spending huge amount of money on a certain position like the left wing position and spending 85 million euros on Luis Diaz. It's going to be considered as Joan Laporta's first big signing since he became president back in 2021. So it's going to be a big deal, and we'll see how this operation does, I would just say, grow. I believe that what we have to look at first is Barcelona locking down the deals, making sure that they close the accounts well and be financially healthy in June 2025, because it's still very early. We still have to like finish off this season, and then we have to speak to the league and see what the league tell us and how much we can spend. Once we know that, then we can see how Barcelona maneuver through the market and see how they complete the deal of Luis Diaz. Obviously, Luis Diaz, like what we talked about before, he wants to see guaranteed in registration, right? He does not want to be in a predicament where we saw Dani Olmo in 8 months ago. Luis Diaz wants a good offer. He wants to get paid well because he is 28 years old. He has shown that he is Premier League winning material, so he can win you trophies. He has shown adaptability, better numbers than ever before. And once again, guaranteed registration. He does not want to join a club where, he goes there and then there's like a 50-50 chance that he might be registered. No, he wants to be registered immediately, which is understandable. And hopefully Javier Tebas, can give us that blessing, like I always say, to really just make us more financially secured and bring in the players that we want to bring in with no problem. So that is it, right? Let me know in the comment sections down below. What do you think about a potential Luis Diaz, Rafinha, and Lamine Yamal front line, and also with Luis Diaz as the reinforcement to Rafinha on the left wing position? It's going to be very, very exciting. But that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.